So, I've replaced my blue Canopy, which has gone with me on so many adventures, both while I was living in the minivan and while I've been living in my current van. I really love that thing. It turned out to be way more useful than I ever thought it was going to be when I originally bought it. But it was pretty much destroyed by some strong winds in Nevada. So I've now replaced it with the Ozark Trail 6-person Flex Ridge tent. And even though this seems to go against what I said I was considering, I do have reasons for my choice, and they kind of relate to my fitness and weight loss journey, so I figured I combine things and we talk about that today. So guys, last week I did a little mix of a vlog and a health and fitness check-in, and I really liked it because it kind of merged sort of the health and fitness check-in into just my general van life. And I've been looking for that bridge for a while because I didn't quite know how to incorporate, bringing it into the channel, and I even questioned if it was actually something that should be separate on a separate channel and all those other things. And I ultimately decided that it didn't because so many of my decisions these days are about supporting that journey while also living this journey. And so I really wanted to find a way to bring that together in a good perspective. And so, luckily the last couple of weeks I've been kind of finding a way to do that. Last week I incorporated it with the reasons that I left sort of my other campsite, and this week I'm going to talk about getting to this campsite and, more importantly, buying this tent right here. This is a 6-person, as I've already said, Flex Ridge tent. I think I've said the title right, by Ozark Trail, which is a Walmart company. They are known for affordable camping gear. For some people it's too cheap, and there are certainly more expensive versions of the tent that I have, but I got this tent on sale for around $100, which is a lot cheaper than a lot of the awning options. Now, the last time you guys heard from me, when my blue Canopy tent got destroyed, and it was blue Canopy, got destroyed, I said one of the things I was interested in was an awning for the van. And a lot of people also bought up the moonshade, which I am interested in, but it's $400 for something that's not $300 or $400. I don't know how much for something that isn't even enclosed. And I really started to think back on the reasons I originally got the blue Canopy tent. So for anybody who's new around here, I bought the blue Canopy tent while I was working in Oregon. It was something I bought while I was in the process of transitioning back to the minivan, and I actually bought it not to camp with. I bought it because of my weight loss journey, and my thought in buying it was, if it is raining, how can I protect myself and my equipment in the rain and still be able to get out and exercise? And I was like, well, those canopies are supposed to be really easy to put up. That is a lie. I mean, they're not hard, but really for something I'm going to do for 10 or 15 minutes, getting it out for exercise, it just honestly ended up being more cumbersome to do than actually do. Maybe about once or twice I ended up using that blue Canopy as an exercise space because it rained. On top of that, it was kind of short, to be quite honest. I could only stand up entirely directly in the middle. I was ducking a little bit as you come out the canopy because it kind of ducked in a little bit. It was one of those canopies where sort of the spider legs, and people were like, oh, just break off the legs. There was a lot of suggestions where you just remove the 2 damaged legs and still use it. But what they didn't seem to understand is sort of a spider's web effect. So as you pull it open, it sort of goes up and it needs the legs as support. So it basically became something that I couldn't use. And even just to get it out the campsite and get it to another location, I actually had to break it more than it was broken to get it small enough to transport. So it was completely unusable by the time I left my campsite in Nevada. It was basically pieces and a unusable tarp that I personally could not use for anything. And all I could do was get rid of it as the first opportunity because it was just taking up space I needed in my van. But on top of that, I needed to really consider what I wanted to do to replace it. Now, the fact is, even though I bought it for exercise, I mostly used it for camping. I ended up, because when I first got it, in fact, most of the time I owned it, I used it with the minivan. And so, like, when I went out camping with the minivan, I used it with the minivan, and when I got this van that I have now, I used it with this van. And so, like, I've probably used it for camping more than exercise, mostly because it was too small to really use as a outdoor exercise space. I could only really stand up in it, like, right in the middle, so it wasn't really good for anything where even I was trying to get a little bit of air. There was just a lot of issues with it as sort of its original goal, which was an exercise space. But as I started to think about what I wanted next, I really wanted something that would bring me back closer to that goal. So I happened to be in Walmart. I was looking for propane for my buddy heater. And I said, well, let me just take a look at the tents. Let me see how inexpensive a standable tent is and if it would be worth it. And I wasn't even looking for something with, like, this has like an awning on the front of the tent. I wasn't even specifically looking for that. That was honestly a bonus when I found this tent. I happened to find a tent that also had an awning. And so I went back and forth on buying it. There actually wasn't a price on it. It was on a random shelf. There was one other tent that I was looking at, and I was even looking at a 10 by 10 canopy and what's called a connect tent. And so you would basically you would have to buy two separate things, the 10 by 10 canopy and the connect tent. And the thing is, the 10 by 10 canopy, which is bigger than the canopy I had, was just really big. And just to store it, it would have taken up more space than what I had lost. Whereas this tent actually did not. It still provided standable space. It's allegedly a 6-person tent. 6-person if you're packed in there like sardines. They have a really funny way of sizing tents, which is something I'm learning. But if you're not packed in there like sardines, I would say it's about a 3-person tent. Like, you could hang out semi-comfortably with like 3 people in there and not be on top of each other, and not just for sleeping. You could sleep 6 people, I guess, head to toe in there, packed like sardines, but whatever. Like I said, they size tents really weird. One of my Patreon supporters actually bought that up, and I thought it was really, really funny. But anyway, I was like, okay, well, a 6-person tent. It's I'm only 5'4". I think the peak of this is like 6 foot and some change. And really, it's only set up with about 6 poles. But even still, yeah, I think so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, not including the 2 front poles for the patio area. It's only set up with about 6 poles. And so I was like, all right, I'm just going to take a chance on this and buy it. And so what I did was I went ahead and bought the 6-person tent. And my reason for getting the tent was, I was like, this could be an outdoor gym space, and it can also be an outdoor office. And it's standable, which my van isn't. So once it's set up, I can stand up in it. And it was really great because I used it as an office a couple of times while I was out here. And I put Mickey's cat tree in it, and I had him in there with me, and he just like slept on his cat tree. And then once I was finished editing, I was able to do something I can't even do in my van. I was just able to stand up and stretch while the video was exporting, which with the van involves getting out of the van, which isn't a bad thing. But sometimes, like, if you're editing at night or at some awkward hour, or you just really you don't want to go that far, you just want to stand up, it was a really nice, relaxing thing to be able to do while I was out here at a campsite. I was able to like set up a table, because sometimes I set up my table in there, sometimes I have it out here in front of the chair, especially when I just want to sit here and like eat or drink or just chill and enjoy the view. I don't have the best view in this setup, but this was the best place to put the tent for stable ground in this particular situation. But I'm looking forward to seeing how it flexes around other situations and stuff like that. It has been great as a gym space. I really had to figure out how I sort of wanted to arrange things. The first day that I used this as a gym, I sort of had a little bit of an awkward setup because they have like a media holder, and so I tried to use that, and it meant that I was using I was going front to back, and I find out I like it better left to right. as far as like setting myself up. So I like having the video set up on this end of the video that I'm watching for my exercise, and then having all this space to exercise in. The other way just didn't work as well, so I had to play with a couple of little bit of layouts with it. But as far as the actual space in there, it's great. I also use it sort of as an outdoor garage space now. So if there's stuff I want to leave out, that I don't want to like shove back in the van, I can just put it in the tent. And so like I've really enjoyed just having the tent. And I want to take you guys sort of on a tour of the inside, talk about it a little bit. But before we do that, let's go ahead and look at my weigh-in for the week, and talk about a little bit about exercise, and then we'll circle on back. By the way, I'm at a campground. So I have this little picnic area. There's my van, and I also have a new tent that I need to talk about in a future YouTube video. But my drone is like way up in that tree, and it's saddened me because I can see it flashing at me as the battery runs out, and it's just too tangled, and I'm hoping maybe the wind will blow hard enough that it'll just fall out the tree. But I don't think it's gonna happen. I think it's unfortunately gone. And it's the thing that happens. Like, I've had crashes before, especially when I was first learning how to fly, but they've never been unretrievable. And even, number one, there's a small list of them because like it never really hurt the drone, and two, it always fell. Like, unfortunately, I wasn't paying attention. I thought I was in the clear area, and I started to go up, and it was closer to the branches that I realized, and now it's just kind of caught there, slowly dying. But that doesn't change what I need to do today. It's Sunday, so it's time for a Sunday weigh-in. My heart is just not in it. Like, I'm not even worried about my weight. I'm just sad I lost my drone. I'm into, like, the 2 hours I spent trying to get, like, the drone out the tree. I know it would have made great content. But, like, my heart wasn't in it. It was just, like, I just wanted to come up with a solution where it would fall out the tree, and I don't think it's going to, unless we get some really, really strong winds, and maybe it'll fall loose, but I think I might have to just leave without it. But this video isn't about drones. It's about weighing in, so let's do it. So I finished exercising, and I'm obviously not feeling great about my weigh-in number. Yeah, just not feeling great about it. I mean, like, it's not like I'm gonna quit, or I think like it's not worth it. Like, I believe in the process, and I think like the long-term stretch of the process still proves the value of the process. But it's all you just got to go through the week. And I was already kind of blown about losing my drone today, and then to see the 2-pound weight gain, doesn't help. And for all my fellow ladies out there, like, my monthly visitor it started up yesterday. So it's that time of the month. And so 2021 unfortunately did not start off with a bang as far as weight loss. It started with a gain. It just means I have some work to do. I wouldn't say I've gone super hard this past week on exercise, but I wasn't sleeping on it either. On Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, I was back on the weight training videos, and I coupled those days with the short cardio video. On Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, I did some cardio videos of a various variety. Is that redundant to say? With calories, I wouldn't say I've been stuffing my face, but I don't know that I've been highly attentive either. I've been casually staying on autopilot. So all I can do is keep moving. I trust the science, and I trust the process. I've had a gain here and there throughout this journey, and I've always come back from it with just loss for the long term. All right, guys, let's go inside. So first of all, I'm having a really hard time keeping this floor clean. I think I'm going to have to get me a traditional size broom. I've always had a small little whisk broom for the van. But yeah, it's really easy when you're basically in dirt to track dirt into a space. And so, yeah, I don't know if I need like a rug so I can kind of like wipe my shoes off or what's going on. But yeah, I'm just going to have to like get a regular broom, I think, because I actually did whisk in here as much as I could yesterday, and still like I've tracked stuff back in. That being said, I did buy this soft mat basically to be like sort of my exercise square. It just sort of softens whatever ground I'm on, and it's those connecting sort of blocks. They're really easy to wipe off, and they're really easy to pack up and store as well. Now this thing is new, much like the tent. The first time I assembled this and took it apart was in a public marina. And I basically just wanted to see how hard it was going to be to put it together and make it small again, because if it wasn't going to work out, I was just going to take it back to the store. So I do disassemble this to store it. Now what this actually is called is the Perfect Ab something, but I'm not really using it for that. It's also a good like stand. You can do planks on it. You can do push-ups on it. And you can also do chair dips on it. And so I really like those three features. I don't really like it as an ab roller. Like, it's just uncomfortable for me personally at the weight I am now. So I don't really use it for that a lot. Over here is, of course, my weights. I also have these little weights for just like light movement exercises where I have some extra weights. Those blue ones strapped to my hand, and they came with some Beachbody videos I got a long time ago. And then those are just like 2-pound weights that I can just hold, soft weights that I can just hold for certain exercises. But obviously, as everybody knows, these are my pride and joy. These are my Bowflex Select Tech weights, and I've had these for years, and I freaking love them. I do have exercise bands, which a lot of people have like suggested to me, and I really do not like them as much as dumbbells. Right now my bike is just sitting in here, which is cool. Like I said, I can also use it as a garage, so I can just store my bike over there. It's ready to go. It's out of the public eye. Right now, my exercise ball is deflated, but that's basically my exercise ball in my 12-volt air compressor. So I can blow that up really quick. I can also use that for my tires or basically anything. There's a bunch of attachments that came with it. That's my yoga mat. And obviously my bicycle helmet. The buddy heater is great, and that's the great thing about this tent, because when I was in Nevada, it got really cold outside sometimes, and there's nothing you can do about outside too much. But by having the buddy heater in here, I can turn that on, warms up the space, and it makes it a little easier to exercise in here no matter what the temperature. In fact, I was sweating in here the other day because it was slightly chilly outside, so I turned it on, and before I even got through my exercise, some of it was probably me working, I was sweating, and I actually ended up turning it off. And like I said, I can just store stuff in here as well. Like that bag is over here. That's actually camera gear. That's not an exercise bag. It just has some miscellaneous like hookups and mounts and stuff that I use sometimes. Like I said, this table floats inside and outside. I've been sitting my laptop on it to like watch my exercise programs. That's my tracker. So it tracks how much weight I do for each exercise as I progress through the weeks. I've just started a fresh one. The last one I did was this one, which is full, so I needed a fresh sheet to start this week. Again, there's just some stuff stored over here in the corner. A book bag actually has some office stuff in there. That Berkeley rep bag has my stickers in it. I need to do another mail out soon, and that bag's actually trash. It's just miscellaneous trash. I realized I needed a trash bag in here. And this power is running back to the van. So this is basically plugged into the jackery. And there's basically a little hole right here built specifically for running power into the tent from outside if you need to. And so this goes out of here, and then it goes up through the window of the car, and then I have power for the tent. That little bowl is for when Mickey is in here. I'll bring his cat tree in here, and then I'll fill that with water, so he has water in here if he wants it. And over here, again, it's just miscellaneous bags. That's the Jackery bag. I did a video on that. I just have that thrown in here to get it from underfoot. And then that bag just has some miscellaneous stuff related to my exercise gear. That box under there is actually the box for the ab roller. Oh, those are push-up bars, by the way. So yeah, and then we basically have these cool hanging bags that came with the tent. This I just got from Walmart as well. It's a bug zapper and a light, so it's like an extra light. And then I just have some off deep woods in here. So again, this is like a little bug zapper thing and a light on this side. And then for my primary light, and these actually light up the tent really nice at night. I have these Canopy brights. They're really nothing special, to be quite honest. They're just string lights, but they really do provide really nice light in here at night. Like, I was shocked. I keep getting shocked by how much light you can get with string lights. I thought I was going to get a Canopy, which is why I grabbed these, because they have little hooks that come with them that make them easier to hook to the edge of a canopy. But I ended up just running them through these little corner tabs that happen to be on the tent, and they just do a really good job at night. And I need very little additional light in here to see and sit in here comfortably with the Canopy brights run through there. And it's unbelievable to me I can have all of this and just break it down and throw it like in my van when it's time to leave. So over here we have another pouch. I just have some miscellaneous stuff thrown in here. Like, these are my gloves that I wear when I lift weights. I have some extra pencils just in case I lose my pencil for making notes. I have a second one of these bug zapper things. We have another pouch down here that I'm not really using. And there's another one on that side. So if you did have multiple people in here, you could almost assign them like pouches. This is supposed to be the media pouch. And like I said, I used this once. And basically the idea is like you just stick your tablet in there and then like you can watch or phone or whatever. And you can just use this as, you know, a TV. But I didn't really like it. And I ended up going back to just putting my laptop on the table as opposed to using this media pouch right here. And let me see. Yeah. And then there's another little pocket right here. And I have a little wand in here with one of Mickey's like wand toys that we play with. This is not his favorite one, but he will play with it for a while. And this is a nice big space for him to run around and chase it in. Because usually if we're in here playing, just so things don't get too crazy, I'll just close the door. And let me show you what all these windows look like when they're open. All right, so there's 3 windows in here, plus the window on the door. And so for this window, you're just zipping down left and the right, and then you just kind of roll it a little bit. And it actually leaves enough space in the bottom for you to just kind of tuck it in there. And boom, you have a nice big open window. In my case, the only view out the back window is the side of my van, but that's okay for this particular setup. Like I said, in this case, this was the best place to put it. But, you know, in a different situation, I might be able to set up this so I really have like a beautiful view like out this window and not just the side of my van. And the rest of the windows kind of work the same way. This is our front window, which gives us a little bit better view in this situation than our back window. And again, all you did was unzip it 2 sides, just like the other side, and then tuck it down into the little pocket area right here, and zipping them back up is completely effortless. Now the door, which is this, also has a zipper pocket window. So for the door, the only thing that gets confusing is all the freaking zippers, because this is the door, this is the window in the door, and so you just unzipping the window in the door, and again, you just kind of roll it. Tuck and roll, and boom. You have a window space in your door, so Facing front, you have 2 wide open window spaces, and facing the other way, you have 2 wide open window spaces. In a lucky situation, you'll be able to exploit both sides. In a so-so situation like this one, you may only get one side that really gives you a view. And so in this case, in this particular campsite, the only real view I have is this way. And yeah, it's so you can have all the doors closed, enjoy your view, you know, if you set this up in a way that's appealing, and still be inside. You got protection from bugs and stuff, and you have a really large space to play in, especially if you're solo like me with just an animal, especially a small animal. Even if you're both in here, it's not a claustrophobic space. It's a really cool external room. And I never thought I would be a big fan of having a tent. I'm like, I have the van, that's the point. What would I need a tent for? And I never thought, oh, you know, early in my van life, it's a great outside space. It's basically giving yourself an expanded garage. People exercise in their garage. It's not like garages are just used for storing cars. People store extra stuff in their garage. So stuff, especially like what I learned from my last outing to Nevada, is that sometimes you got to buy extra stuff that really crowds the van if you're trying to entirely live in the van. And the cool thing about having this auxiliary space is, like, I bought all these extra bottles of propane. I don't know if you can see them. And if I had left them in the van, honestly, they just would have been underfoot. So being able to throw them out here and just have them sit out here in the tent means I am comfortably, when I do go into my van at night, I'm comfortably in my van without a bunch of stuff underfoot that would just be in the way if I was trying to make sure I was stocked up well enough to be out here for extended days. So, like, having things in a tent, still being able to have them out and ready to use, and at the same time not underfoot in your van space, is actually really nice. I didn't bring enough stuff when I went to Nevada, I don't think, you know, my campsite before this, because I didn't want to crowd the van. And this allowed me the opportunity to crowd the van long enough to get out here, and then once I'm out here, again, uncrowd the van, be comfortable in the van, have this comfortable extra space, and it's just been great. So as disappointed as I am about gaining weight this week, I do think I've made some moves to set myself up for better success in the future, both with exercise and with van life. So I'm feeling good about everything. What is up, everyone? Editing Dawn here to remind you to hit that like button if you enjoyed this content at all. And also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, but you've checked out a couple of my videos and think I'm pretty cool, yeah, right, I'm not cool, but if you're entertained at least, you can also subscribe below. Thank you to all my YouTube membership and Patreon supporters, and also every single person who watches videos, who likes videos, who comments on videos. It's helping this channel grow. So don't think Patreon and YouTube memberships are the only way. It all matters at the end of the day.